Hello my friends, my name is Harold and welcome to the Sanctum. In this particular video, I'm going to be starting a new series and this particular series called Question Time is essentially a series that will take place over time, and this series will essentially entail me answering questions that you sent me by email. And this was essentially started by an individual who sent me a question on an email, which I feel is worth me making a video on. So if any of you all have any questions that you'd like a video made on or a response from me, you can send your questions over to thesanctum93@gmail.com. You can find that in the description box below as well. So thank you to this particular person for sending this question in, as this is going to start an entire new series. Okay, so let me get straight to the question. Hi Harold, my name is Name Withheld. First of all, I'd like to thank you for continuing to make videos on your channel. I totally love it and have followed you for a while. I noticed you had an email address in the description box, and I hope it's alright if I sent over a question that I've been struggling with. So for a while now, I have been seeing the numbers 1111, 222, 333 on repeat. And I know it's called synchronicity. However, every video or article I look up on the subject says a different thing. This is confusing because I don't know what it means. What does it really mean? Okay, so what is synchronicity? Thank you, Name Withheld, for the question and for supporting this channel for a long time. So let me start by defining the word synchronicity. When something is in sync, it means that one or more things are working together in a connected manner to a particular purpose. Yeah, that's when something's in sync. So synchronicity, in the spiritual sense of the word, as I define it, would be when the external reality gives cues or signals that confirm an inner state of reality. Okay, when the external reality is reflecting back onto you symbols, omens, gestures that reflect your internal environment. Okay, so a synchronicity could be anything. It could be, as you said, like 111, 222, 333, etc. However, in reality, those are just numbers. And it is because it's repeating itself, you're noticing it. Your inner awareness is noticing that in the external environment, something is going on. There's a pattern, right? It's like, let's say the number was 2753. You just saw that number once, big deal, right? But now let's say you see it everywhere you go. You say you see a number, and it's that particular number. You see it on the wall. You go to this particular area and you see a piece of paper and it has that number. You see that number everywhere, and now this is becoming synchronicity because there's a pattern. We have something called the RAS, or the reticular activating system in the brain. So the RAS, or reticular activating system, is that part of your brain that begins to notice certain patterns, right? This is where I remember in the past I used to wear glasses. When I did used to wear glasses, the first time I wore it, suddenly I started to notice every other person who was wearing glasses, and I went, oh, right, look at all these people who wear glasses. Just because I was wearing glasses, now I started to notice everybody else was wearing glasses. So in the same sense, it's like if you bought a new car, or you've got a new bike, or a bag or something like that, and suddenly you notice everybody else has the same car or the same bag or bike or whatever, right? So this is the RAS at work. So this is also working in terms of synchronicity. Now, synchronicity in general, as you've said, everybody's saying different things because it depends on how you wish to interpret it, right? So you can use a certain symbolic system that gives certain interpretations of certain numbers. For example, what the number 1 means, what the number 2 means, what the number 3 means, and so on. It doesn't have to just be numbers. It could be things, it could be animals, it could be shapes, it could be figures, it could be people, it could be absolutely anything. It could be a kind of tree. It could be the elements, fire, air, earth, water. It could be absolutely anything. But different systems give different meanings, and depending on which meaning you wish to give it, and if you give it that particular meaning, your unconscious mind is now able to present those particular symbols in your reality as synchronicity to tell you more about what's going on inside you, and perhaps even point you into the direction, spiritually speaking, towards an answer or a place that you need to be in a certain way. Yeah. So now this term synchronicity and 1111 is a very new age concept. It's very new, and it became more popular over the last 100, maybe 200 years, right? But where does this actually come from? If you really were to track down as to where this comes from, this idea of looking at numbers and trying to get different meanings out of it, first of all, every ancient tradition has this system of synchronicity interpretation. Now, in the yogic system, you've got numerology, but of course, this is related to what you call Jyotish or Indian astrology, right? Vedic astrology, yogic astrology, and that tradition itself has a way of interpreting these particular numbers. But that's a certain kind of meaning. If you look at the Hermetic tradition, the ancient Egyptian tradition, right, which had a link with the Kabbalistic tradition as well, the Hermetic Kabbalistic tradition, they use something called gematria, right? So gematria is also a way of interpreting numbers and symbols and words and letters and things like that. And you have to understand that that's why even the term gematria comes from the word Gia-matria, right? Gia or Gaia. Gaia matria, matria, like matriarch, like mater, like mother, right? Gaia is the spirit of the earth, Gaia. Mater is the mother, but it's also matria, like mathematics, like measure. So Gaia matria is the system of measure of Gaia, the earth, of matter, matter. You can see that connection there. So gematria, as you would pronounce it nowadays, is this original way of interpretation in the Western tradition. And of course, in the Eastern tradition, there were all sorts of numerological systems in China and in India and everywhere in the world. They have their own way of interpreting numbers, depending on which system you wish to use. And the more you familiarize yourself with the system of numbers and actually implant them, go through them so often that it actually becomes a part of you. Now, when you look at numbers, you can actually read them and you can see where it's trying to lead you in some way. So now you can follow a certain system or you can create your own, right? But as long as if you do create your own, you're convincing yourself that those particular numbers mean these particular things, so that over time, when you see those numbers, after a while, you'll notice a pattern. Those particular synchronicities are trying to tell you something. It's perhaps leading you to the answer to a question. Perhaps it's leading you to a particular opportunity. Perhaps it's leading you to a particular place where you can learn something new, right? It entirely depends. This is why it's important for you to discover what the numbers mean to you, right? And to create a certain system of symbolism. So this is why I can't tell you, well, I can tell you what they mean for me and what these numbers mean for me. I see them all the time. 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2 happens all the time, but they mean something completely different to me. And of course I can share that, but for them to mean the same to you, you need to embody that. And you don't have to, right? You can use many other different systems. And some of these systems of gematria, numerology, or whichever tradition you wish to follow, the way of interpreting those numbers are, centuries, if not millennia old. So they have a certain symbolic weight and power to them. Okay, so synchronicities, first of all, it's a very positive thing in my opinion, because it's telling you that your internal world is now be getting in sync with the external world, and your unconscious mind through the collective unconscious is sending you these symbols that is pointing you in some way, in my opinion. So if you were to decipher these in some way, it would lead you perhaps to some place that you have been really looking to go for a while. So I hope all of this makes sense. I hope please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you like this sort of stuff. And thank you, take care, and I shall see you very soon. Peace.